Lesson number 110 is all about symmetry. And our first question says, this triangle has how many lines of symmetry? Well, a line of symmetry just means if we were to draw a line, that the side on the right would be exactly the same as the side on the left. Or the side on the top would be exactly the same as the side on the bottom. So I can see one line in this triangle right away. That's a line of symmetry. We're going to use a straight edge for this. And our first line of symmetry would just be if we drew a straight vertical line right through our triangle. So we could see this piece on the right, if we flipped it over the line, or reflected it, would be exactly the same as the piece on the left. Now for this triangle, this is an equilateral triangle, all sides are the same, all angles are the same. Can you see any more lines of symmetry? Well, perhaps you said yes. If you said yes, maybe you were looking in the opposite direction. We can't use a vertical line there. We've got to use a diagonal line. So we're going to go right through this point, right through the middle. And if we were to erase our first line in green, or just move it out of the way, we can see now that the bottom right-hand side is the same as the top left-hand side. So there's a second line of symmetry. Let's move this one out of the way. Can you see another line of symmetry? Well, hopefully you said yes. If you did say yes, maybe you were looking over at the bottom right-hand corner. Because if we take it from there, and we draw it right through the middle of our line, well now the bottom left is exactly the same as the top right. Using a ruler is a great way to see lines of symmetry because you can visualize what's going to be exactly the same if you were to reflect an image. So the answer to this question, the triangle has how many lines of symmetry? Well, that must be 3. There's 3 lines of symmetry. Now one note on this. All of these that I drew, they were all segments. But we should be drawing lines. So each of these needs to have arrowheads on them. So we can add our arrowheads to one, arrowhead to the other, and we could put our arrowhead on the third. Because we were talking about lines, not segments. Let's look at our next problem. This rectangle has how many lines of symmetry? Pause the video for a moment to see if you can answer this question. Well, perhaps you'll get the answer that we got. If you look at it, this rectangle definitely has one line of symmetry right in the middle. And we'll add our arrowheads right away. Because the left side, if we reflected it over this line, would be exactly the same as the right side. Well, there's another line of symmetry here. The other line of symmetry, and if you're drawing these, you can draw them all on the same rectangle. You don't have to make a new rectangle each time. Would be going across. We'll put our arrowheads on again. And we can see this one with this line, the whole top is the same as the whole bottom. So if we reflected the top over the line, we'd get the same thing as we had on the bottom. So the rectangle has how many lines of symmetry? It has 2 lines of symmetry. Got our answer? We could box it, and then we can move on to our next question. Our lesson practice will be on page 593. Make sure you've got your notes complete, and I'll see you during our next class.